All right, so I've already gone over the 5 things I love about living in Antarctica and McMurdo Station. So in this video, I'm going to go over 5 things I hate or can't stand about living here. The first one is going to be food. Kind of obvious. It's probably what you would expect. Being so far away from everything, it's probably really hard to get fresh food down here. And yeah, that's pretty much the truth. Basically, October and November, you have a decent amount of fresh food. They would just call it freshies. If you hear freshies is around, that means you have fruits and vegetables that are relatively fresh and not canned or frozen like we're used to. December through February, it's rare. It may come in on a plane every once in a while if there's nothing has more priority to come in, but this year they're late on everything. Not a lot of freshies coming in for sure. Other than like that, everything you eat here is either canned or frozen. I will say they go pretty hard on Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, and they're pretty spectacular. So food, it's a complaint, but you know, we're in Antarctica. What can you expect? Right. Next is going to be weather. And weather is obviously something that hits you straight in the face once you get off the plane. Just walking onto an ice runway, you kind of know what you're getting into with weather. Being here in the summer season, this is as good as it gets, really. The warmest I've seen it this year is 38 degrees, and the coldest I've seen it is about -40. And this is the summer I'm mentioning here, so just keep that in mind. In the winter, it gets to like -70 to -100 at times. So snow is everywhere, and when it dries out, like because it does get warmer and things melt out a little bit, and it kind of just gets really dusty. So then there's just dust being kicked up all over the place. And that happens in the 20s to 30s when it's sunny. Either way, snowy or dusty is kind of what you get with weather, and yeah, it's not the best. And when it comes to the transition, which is that section between Ross Island and the sea ice where it just connects, it turns into a swamp. And yeah, you're just like driving through water. When you come here, no, you're here for the cold, and that's what you're gonna get. It's just cold all the time. Number 3, this one's starting to drive me insane. Way too many rules. Feel like you're on a military base. That's how you feel. You kind of are, but not completely. So to paint the picture, you are on the least populated place on the planet. The entire continent is ruled by a treaty between governments, and if you screw up, you will lose your job, housing, and will be sent off continent within 24 hours. We've seen it happen a few times here where people just get fired and they don't know they're fired until the morning they're being shipped out. They do this so that no one gets mad and like breaks stuff, I guess. There's been some bad stuff in the past. And then this is kind of like the hard truth. Mostly everything you see is off limits. You see out onto the sea ice, and yeah, you can't go out there. You see the mountains in the distance, you're never going to step foot on those mountains. It's all against the rules. Either due to safety or just being on a military base. You just can't go. On hikes, you have to always have a buddy. You can't go alone. You need to get a radio, and then you have to check in and out with central comms when you're coming in and leaving or coming back. So you just, for the moment, go on a hike that you just want to. You have to find someone else who's off, wants to go, also check in with comms and get a radio. So that drives me a little bit crazy because I just like to do things on the fly every once in a while. That's kind of frustrating and annoying. Probably one of the things that annoys me the most, actually. The next thing, I think this is the one that drives me the most insane out of anything, actually. Just what I said. This is probably the one that is like surprising and annoying. McMurdo Station is crowded. Okay, so this was a huge surprise to me, but the station is not large. So whoever is here is packed into the same areas. Everyone eats in the galley. Everyone lives in one of the dorms. And you'll see most people on an everyday basis multiple times a day, no matter what. It's fun for a while, but it definitely does get old. You would think being on the least populated continent on the planet, that would mean that you have a bit of space, you know? But not at McMurdo. Here you are here, you have 2 to 3 roommates. So finding a quiet place away from people is almost impossible. A hideaway I use is where I'm at right now, the library or the record room, which is pretty frequently quiet. But even here or there, within probably 10 minutes, someone will pop in. So having this time alone is rare, no matter what. I seek it out constantly because it's really hard to find. Most of the town work on the same hours, so everyone is off on the same time. So that means they're using all the public spaces on the same time. In a normal environment, you could just drive away. Like I have my car, I could just drive anywhere, go to a cafe that you won't know anyone you know, go to a restaurant to escape to. You could go just out of town and get away from people if you wanted to. Here, it just seems impossible. There are 2 bars, there's a coffee shop, everyone eats at the galley, and everyone uses the same common spaces. So you're going to see people no matter what all the time. Yeah, it's something that I've had a rough time with. But just another thing right there. The last one is going to be work hours. So I would say 90% of the people that come here for the first season is completely out of curiosity and interest to see what it is like to be in Antarctica. And it seems like an almost unattainable goal to come here and explore. Everyone is very excited when they get off that C-17 onto this frozen wasteland. They want to see penguins, seals, whales, the generational ice that's like hundreds of feet thick, crevasses. They came here for what they saw in a documentary, and they want to see what it's like to see something so wild. But that is not what you signed up for. You signed up here to work. You've got a job here. So the very reason you get to stay here is also the only way to stay here. So you are here to work. This is a schedule that is almost across the board for everyone. 6-day weeks, 10 hours a day, and you're gonna have Sunday off. That is almost everyone's schedule here. There's a few departments that you do work longer days and get a second day off, but that's very few and far between. Thankfully, I was part of one of those departments, which was kind of like a godsend to have 2 days off. So all those things you want to do, you have to fit into your weekends or evenings. And with 60 hours a week, it's very easy to just get into a routine of going to work, eating, hanging with some friends, and just going to bed. It just feels like a normal work day back home, except for you're in this amazing place, you want to see stuff. So you are more motivated to go see these things, but you still have very minimal amount of time to see them. So you have all these thoughts of exploration and wild travel, but the only way to stay on this continent is to work 6 days a week. That's a little bit rough. That's a little bit hard to stomach, I think, for everyone who gets here right away because they're here to explore and see things. Those are the things that I have a tough time with. Not everyone probably has a tough time with those things, but I also made a video on what I think are pretty amazing about living down here, so check that one out as well. And that is all I have here for now, so see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Yeah, see ya.